Jacqueline likely died in the fall of 2024 while her family was still residing in Farmington. Evidence indicates that Jacqueline was the victim of prolonged physical abuse and malnourishment prior to her death.
The following story is based on real-life criminal cases. Some names, details, and events have been altered for privacy and dramatic purposes. While every effort has been made to ensure accuracy, certain information may not be factually verified. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Some of these cases remain unsolved to this day.
The murder of Jacqueline Mimi Torres, the girl in the box. Good day, and welcome back to Murder Mysteries, where we bring you stories that are not just about crime, but about the lives and tragedies behind the headlines. Today's story is one that has shaken an entire community in Connecticut. The death of a young girl whose final resting place was not a home, not a bed, but a box hidden behind an abandoned house. Her name was Jacqueline Torres, though everyone who knew her called her Mimi. Before we continue, please do not forget to like and subscribe to Murder Mysteries. Your support helps us continue to uncover the truth behind stories that matter, stories that deserve to be told. Jacqueline Mimi Torres was just 12 years old when police discovered her lifeless body behind a vacant home in New Britain, Connecticut. To the people who lived nearby, it was an ordinary Friday afternoon when officers arrived at the scene. But what they found behind that empty house would haunt them forever. Inside a discarded storage box lay the remains of a child, malnourished, bruised, and neglected. The girl's identity was not immediately confirmed, but word spread quickly that it might be Mimi, a young girl who had not been seen in weeks. For days, detectives combed through evidence, waiting for forensic confirmation. When the results came back, they were devastating. It was her, Jacqueline Mimi Torres,
a victim of prolonged physical abuse and malnourishment prior to her death. It is also believed that following her death, Jacqueline's body was kept in the family's basement and subsequently moved when the family relocated from Farmington in March of 2025. As a result of our investigation, 2 individuals have been taken into custody in connection with Jacqueline's death. Jacqueline's
12-year-old girl whose life had been cut short in one of the most disturbing cases Connecticut had seen in years. The medical examiner's report revealed the horrifying truth. Mimi's death was not a sudden tragedy. It was the result of prolonged abuse, neglect, and starvation. Investigators described signs of chronic malnourishment, as well as bruises and injuries that suggested repeated physical violence over time. This was not an accident. It was torture. Within hours of the confirmation, police made their move.
Victim of prolonged physical abuse and malnourishment prior to her death. It is also believed that following her death, Jacqueline's body was kept in the family's basement and subsequently moved when the family relocated from Farmington in March of 2025. As a result of our investigation, 2 individuals have been taken into custody in connection with Jacqueline's death. Jacqueline's mother, Carla Garcia, was located last night by members of the Farmington and New Britain Police Departments and arrested on the strength of an arrest warrant charging her with Connecticut General Statute 53A-54B, which is murder with special circumstances, along with several other additional charges.
Mimi's mother, Carla Garcia, was taken into custody. The charges were staggering: murder with special circumstances, risk of injury to a minor, manslaughter, and multiple counts of abuse and neglect. The community, already heartbroken, now turned to anger. How could a mother, the one person meant to protect a child, be accused of doing something so monstrous? Neighbors described Carla as distant and reclusive. They said she rarely spoke to anyone and often kept her children.
One common goal, and I can say that now, our goal has always been to seek justice for Jacqueline Torres. I want to thank the men and women that are standing behind me who have been working around the clock to get us to this point. There have been a very concerning amount of rumors and mistruths that have been posted all over social media, and our goal today is to provide you with as many of the facts as we can. On a personal note, as a mother, this makes me sick to my stomach to be standing here today with what we're about to tell you. On Wednesday, October 8th, when a report of suspicious activity at 80 Clark Street in New Britain came in from an anonymous caller requesting police, responding officers had no idea what they would be walking into.
Children inside.
This caller...
Some had seen Mimi in the past, a quiet, polite girl who loved playing with her dolls and drawing. But in recent months, those same neighbors noticed something strange. They had not seen the girl outside in weeks, maybe even months. And when they asked Carla about her daughter, her answers were vague. She's fine, she would say. She's with family. But she was not fine, and she was not with family. According to police, Carla Garcia had been living in increasingly dire conditions. Her home, located just a few blocks from where Mimi's body was discovered, was found in a state of disarray. Investigators described it as unlivable, trash strewn across food on the counters, and signs that multiple children had been living in cramped, unsafe spaces. What disturbed detectives most was what they found inside Mimi's room. There were padlocks on the door, not from the outside for protection, but from the inside, as if someone had been confined there. The windows were sealed shut. Her bed was stripped bare. There were no toys, no pictures, no signs of a normal childhood. It was as if Mimi had been erased. During interrogation, Carla Garcia gave conflicting statements. At first, she claimed her daughter had run away. Later, she said Mimi had died suddenly, and she panicked. But when pressed about the injuries and signs of long-term starvation, her story began to crumble. Detectives believe Carla had been systematically abusing her daughter for months, possibly years. They allege that the abuse worsened after Mimi's father left the home, leaving Carla to care for her children alone. Investigators say she isolated Mimi from the rest of the family, denying her food, water, and basic medical care. When asked why she never sought help, Carla reportedly said, "I didn't want them to take her away." By the time she finally realized Mimi was dead, police believe she placed the child's body inside a storage box, drove it to a vacant home nearby, and abandoned it behind the property, as if she could hide the evidence of what had happened. The discovery of Mimi's body sent shockwaves through New Britain. Candlelight vigils were held in her memory, with residents leaving flowers, teddy bears, and handwritten notes near the vacant home where she was found. One note read, "You deserve love, not pain." Another simply said, "Fly high, Mimi." As the details of the case emerged, more questions arose. How did no one notice? How could a 12-year-old disappear without anyone reporting it? According to officials, Child Protective Services had limited contact with the family in the past, but there were no open cases at the time of Mimi's death. The mayor of New Britain later stated that the system must do better, promising a full review of how this tragedy slipped through the cracks. Meanwhile, Carla Garcia's court appearances have been tense and emotional. Each time she's brought before the judge, she appears emotionless, staring blankly as prosecutors read the charges against her. The courtroom, often filled with community